I wake up kind of early because I have drug court stuff going on. I call it 7 a.m. and if they call my color, which is purple, I have to go in between 8 and 8:30 to get drug tested. I have like a routine. I meditate and I pray. Not everybody needs it, but I do. I check in with the girls at my house, drink a little bit of coffee.
My average day, I get up, I've been trying to meditate in the morning. I'm trying to get better with that, just to like reset for the day. I talk to my dad and my brother on a daily basis.
I was 12, I think, when I first drank and smoked weed. I would just put my mom through hell. So this is home for me, and this is my room. And then I finally kind of started just managing. I have 2 older brothers and an older sister who also used and drank. We were close. I wasn't really aware of addiction. What could have been helpful is knowing the harm I did. As soon as I put a substance into my body, it controlled me.
Addiction runs on both sides of my family. I started experimenting with hard drugs when I was like 15 in high school. I wanted to fit in because I was kind of an outcast.
I'm pretty sure I was 14. It was morphine, the first opiate I tried, which was kind of like crazy. Somebody just had it and I just did it. But as soon as I did, I fell in love with that feeling. As soon as I started using drugs and drinking, I felt like that I could fit in.
It was a drunk driving accident. When I was 18, my friend drove us into a house near Deer in high school. I woke up in ICU 6 days later. They put me on prescription painkillers, and I was on those for about 4 or 5 months. Right around when they took me off those is when I got my settlement from it, and I started to withdraw from being off them and had the settlement money, and it just went on from there. And I've been battling with it since. When I was starting to withdraw from the meds, I didn't even know that I was withdrawing. I'm like, why am I feeling like this?
When I was 19, I woke up one day sick from not having any opiates. It was scary. I had a young child. I knew that it was the physical addiction at that point, and I didn't really do anything about it. It really took off to heroin. I just tried to maintain my life, my child, my jobs, money to get them, and the use so that I wouldn't be sick. From 18 or 19 until I was 22, I was out straight, in and out of jail. I thought I was going to be a drug addict the rest of my life. In my addiction, I lost everything. Material things. I've had apartments robbed of everything. I've lost pictures, things that were really sentimental to me. The worst thing that I lost was myself, honestly.
I lost sense of who I wanted to be as a person.
I didn't even know that recovery was possible until I went to rehab the first time. When I was 22 and pregnant with my son Christian. Rehab was good. It was my first attempt in treatment. I got a lot of tools.
I started going in and out of jail, and in there they have Narcotics Anonymous meetings and AA meetings once a week, and the people that were coming in explaining almost my same exact story and seeing how happy and clean they were, it started getting the wheels turning, well, they're doing something right. I want what they have. They look 10 times happier than I even remotely thought I was when I was using.
I actually stayed off the heroin, the crack cocaine, through my child's birth and then afterwards for a few months. It gets pretty crazy, actually. It started with me abusing maintenance medication. From there, it was a summer-long thing where I'd drink Friday night. In a few weeks, I'm drinking Friday and Saturday, and then I'm drinking all weekend. Within less than a month, smoking crack cocaine and doing heroin again. It was a pretty bad summer. They crashed a couple cars. The end of the summer, I tried to get sober again. From there, that lasted 10 months. May of 2014, my children got taken away. I relapsed from 2014 until March of last year when I got sober. It was the worst year of my life. I'd given up on everything.
Got on my birthday cards, just had my birthday. My worst overdose was the end of 2014. I just fell away from the program and started hanging out with people that I shouldn't have been. I relapsed and I woke up 4 days later in ICU. And I remember the first thing I seen was the date. I relapsed on a Sunday and I seen the date on the board. It was Wednesday and I was still in a fog. The day that I overdosed, the doctors didn't know if I was gonna make it or not. I was pretty close to death. My heartbeat was 4 beats per minute. When I came to in the hospital, all my family was there, but my mother, wasn't there. I didn't ask, but I'm just maybe she just doesn't want to see me like this. I remember around the 5th or 6th day, my dad and my brother came in the room and I could tell instantly something was up from the look on their face. And my dad starts breaking down and he's just I gotta tell you something. Your mom overdosed in the waiting room the same day you did. She's not gonna make it. I went in meltdown mode. Where is she? I wanna see her. And little did I know for the first few days she was in the room right next to me in ICU. They switched her over to main med. The doctors and the hospital ended up transferring me so I could say goodbye to her, you know. A year and a half later now, I'm even still in shock over it because my mom was my best friend. I felt an immense source of guilt and shame because when she didn't know if I was going to survive or not, she went out and used. If I could talk to her one more time, you know, I just want to tell her, you know, that I'm sorry. Yeah, I tell her how much I miss her. You know, that I'm finally like happy being clean.
March 4th of last year, I overdosed on heroin. I had been awake for over a week on everything under the sun. And I've overdosed a bunch of times, but this specific time, like my heart stopped twice. And I came to with no knowledge of what had happened. I recognized the paramedics. They had revived me. I had to call my probation officer. He said to check in the next morning. I left the hospital and I got high again. No fear at all. And then the next day I turned myself in. At the point of me entering there as an inmate, I was at rock bottom. I'd really given up on everything. My family wasn't talking to me. I hadn't seen my children in like a while. I didn't have any real friends. I didn't go into Cumberland County like wanting to get sober. Nope. And my sober date's March 5th, the day after I overdosed. I found hope through some people that came in that were part of a 12-step based program. And that's where I see like a heroin addict like with long-term recovery. And she's like telling me like it's possible. And I'm relating to the things she's saying. And then I started gaining a little bit of hope. I wanted recovery, but I had no idea what I was doing. I mean, the beginning was kind of hard, but not so hard that like I couldn't do it. You know, now I'm almost 15 months sober and like, look at all the stuff I have going on. It's all really good stuff.
Meetings are definitely huge for me, especially if I'm having a rough day. That 1 hour at nighttime, it gives me something to look forward to. Usually there's always at least one thing said at a meeting that sticks with me, you know, that like keeps me sober for the rest of the day.
I stayed in Cumberland County for 3 months and I got out on drug court into a structured sober living house for women on a scholarship.
You know, living in a sober house, I mean, you get, you know, new friends and they're healthy relationships. There's 9 people that live here. It helps me a lot because for me, you know, I need sober people around. We all joke and laugh and we just have fun, even just hanging out. If someone's having a bad day, you know, me or somebody will go up to them and be like, you okay? And like, I'm really thankful for that because I need that. It's important for me to talk about things that are going on so that like I'm not holding it in, it building to something that's like risky for me. I have a lot of support people in my life, family, you know, my coworkers, my boss. It's all around me, and it's really important to have that. If I didn't have a support system, I mean, my chances to stay sober would not be as good. Back in high school, when I was trying to cover up all my stuff, you know, it's not like I could go to one of my boys and be like, oh, like da-da-da, you know, because I'd be worried about what they think of me, you know. What's up, buddy? Chris has been in my life in such a positive way, beyond words. I actually met him while I was in the pre-release center in jail, at the recovery center. Chris is really the first person that like stepped into my life and made me realize that there is hope. You know, a lot of times he tells me, you know, what I don't want to hear, but it's to better me as a person. And he, you know, he's someone that truly cares about me. I never like had a real friend. It was all like using friends. Now like I surround myself with people who are doing the same thing. There's a lot of support in Portland. Like I just found out 2 girls relapsed the other day and like as I'm being told what had happened, like I texted them. I'm not gonna go out and hang out with somebody that's using, but like I can like be like, hey, like are you okay? Like that stuff's important to me. Cassie is one of my best friends. We became really close. We were living in a sober house together. To this day, like we go to meetings together, like we laugh a lot. I hear words like junkie referred to a lot, like not from close people in my life, but like media and like LePage. I just wish they worded it differently. That stuff hurts. We'd rather have like hope that we can like be like somewhat normal someday, and even if you don't see the hope right away, like there is hope. I have firsthand experience with that. Some people make it seem like recovery isn't possible, but like me, people in this house, people in meetings, like it's proof. Even if they don't make it the rest of their life, like at least they're trying. Every day that we're clean is another chance to better our life and that we're not throwing it away. I needed to put my all into this because like I put my all into drugs, like to get high and to drink. Like I gave it all I got and I went for so long that like I know I had to take my recovery like that.
I was mean then and angry.
Being clean, you got to deal with all the life stresses, you know, sober, but it's, you know, at the end of the night, it's nice to be able to do that. Have a blast at work. Now they're training me to be a cook. I'm moving up there pretty quick because when I'm clean, I actually am a hard worker. And being sober and being able to like have a good hard laugh and it be like genuine, not backed by alcohol, it's the best feeling in the world.
The best thing ever is that like I laugh at myself. Like I can do that. My son Christian's in my life a lot. He's 3.5. He's like a huge part of this. You know, I manage a sober house. I help women every day. I try to help at least one person. And I have a lot of friends. My life is fun.
You know, even on nice sunny days, I'll walk down the street and just like be overwhelmed with joy. It's a really good feeling just to be able to take in life.
Being outside, especially in the warm weather, like that is just like awesome to me. I never was able to enjoy like the beauty. All of that was clouded by my drug and alcohol use. That's like cool to like recognize. Wow, it's beautiful, all of it.
Willow Beach is really important to me because for one, it's at my school. In between classes, I go there and just look out at the ocean and just take it in. It's just like, it makes me realize how precious like life really is. You know, as many overdoses as I've had and, you know, with my mom passing away, like I gotta remind myself every day like how grateful I even am to be alive. I easily could not be here. I'll go out there and sit on the bench and just look out and just take it all in. And it's really peaceful. It's one of the reasons why I come here, the sound of the waves. I would never be able to enjoy that or even do that if I was, you know, using. Like I wouldn't even acknowledge any of that.
Like I'm working a full-time job and I'm managing a sober house. Like that's kind of like being on call 24/7. I can take on a lot and like be comfortable with it. The best thing about my life right now is just the freedom of it. You know, my addiction can come back at any time, but like the freedom to know that like if I keep doing this process where like what's kept me sober for so long, that like I'm going to be okay. Believing that, you know, not just saying it, but believing it. A lot of like the insecurities I had and like the bad feelings I had about myself, and now like I know that that was just my disease. I put a lot of thought into going back to school. I waited till I hit a year sober and I put more thought into it, and I'll be starting at SMCC. The time that drug court takes up will be like replaced with school. I'm an undecided student because there's so much I want to do, and like this is exciting stuff. Like I'm gonna be a college student when last year like I was like in active use. Holy cow, like I literally died. My heart stopped twice last March, and like now here I am like going to school. That's kind of awesome. I really enjoy baking. I kind of want to work for myself, so like I've been putting thought into like taking a business course and maybe opening my own small bakery. In high school and middle school, I had social workers do one-on-ones with me at my house. And like those women potentially like saved my life back then. So that's another thing that I'm kind of like throwing around, and being able to help like somebody, especially kids, like that would be like amazing.
The longest time I've done in jail is 9 months. But one good thing that came out of that is going to pre-release. That's how I started going to college. I was part of the first group that did that. I remember looking at the list of majors and behavioral health, and I'm reading all the details. I'm like, that's me. Like, it's a 2-year degree. If I went full time every semester, I'd have my degree by now. But I only have like 3 more classes to go. I'm the first person in my family to ever even pursue college. I know that's something my mom would, you know, be proud of me. The best thing about recovery for me is to be able to wake up alive and not dope sick. It's so nice to be able to have true, meaningful friendships, not ones that just revolve around drinking and partying. It's so nice to just be able to experience the true joys of life.
I want to travel, like when my kids get older. I want to go like surf in like Australia or like California, because like that's something I've been doing forever. I used to write a lot and I used to draw a lot, like that kind of stuff. They all seem so simple, but like they're really like meaningful. The
main reason why I stay clean is for my mother. I know if she was still here today, that she'd be so proud of me. You know, I'm a father to a 3.5-year-old baby girl, Ella, and yeah, I see her about 3-4 times a week. It still trips me out to this day that I'm a father, because when she came into this world, I was heavily in my addiction, and now I can be a good positive influence in her life. I definitely want to get back in a huge way. That's why I'm in school for behavioral health. If I can make a difference, you know, with one person or say something that'll stick with them, it's huge for me. It's what keeps me clean.
I am in recovery because I was miserable using. You know, I have family and I have kids. I do it for them, but I don't. You know, I do it for me because like I've tried to do it for them before and I couldn't. I want to be okay. My biggest goal is like to find happiness every day.
You really can truly be happy, clean. Bottling your feelings up, you know, with drugs and alcohol, it's all fake. It's not real feelings. If you do feel alone, reach out to somebody that you know is clean. It can be very, very overwhelming at first, and it probably will be uncomfortable, but it's such a big, opening, welcoming family.
Find somebody to talk to. If you want to get out of what you're doing, try to separate yourself from that. And for kids who don't struggle with it, then the opportunity might arise, stay away from it. It ruined my life. Luckily, I didn't die when I overdosed. Not a lot of people are that lucky.
Something that Chris said, he's just just for today, you don't have to get high. You have that power, you have that choice. It sounds cliche, but it's true. And me being the age I am, I'm 26, I'm can I be sober the rest of my life? And I'm sure deep down a lot of people think that, but it's one day at a time, maybe I can be.
If I can do it, you can do it, anyone can do it. I was sitting at the Eastern Prom on Saturday with really not much to do, and I wrote this poem. It's been at least 10 years since I wrote a poem. It kind of describes my life, what it looks like today. She wished, she wished, she wished, and then her dreams came true. Nobody believed what she could achieve, nobody but you. And then one day she surrendered, she gave up all her will. She stood alone but not alone, and today she stands there still.